The old house felt bigger without Mum and Dad. It creaked with every gust of wind. Shadows danced on the walls. Cheedo, all of 11 years old, hugged her teddy bear tight. She missed her parents terribly. They were in London, working hard to send money back home. Cheedo was the youngest. Her older sister Bridget was in charge. At 16, Bridget was beautiful and bossy. She had a sharp tongue and even sharper eyes. Cheedo knew her place. She helped with the chores and tried to stay out of trouble. Their brother Hope was another story altogether. Hope, at 15, was all charm and mischief. He was the apple of their mother's eye, always getting away with his pranks and jokes. But with Mum and Dad gone, Hope seemed to spin out of control. He cared little for Bridget's rules or Cheedo's worries. He was too busy chasing laughter and good times. Hope loved a good party. Every weekend, the house thumped with music. Strangers crowded their small living room, laughing and shouting. Cheedo would hide in her room, her hands over her ears. The noise frightened her. The chaos made her long for her parents' return. Bridget tried to control Hope, but he wouldn't listen. He'd disappear for days, returning with rumpled clothes and a careless grin. He brought trouble home like a stray dog brought fleas. Cheedo worried for him. She knew the path he was on led to nowhere good. One hot Tuesday afternoon, Hope swaggered in, tossing his school bag on the floor. He dug into the cookie jar, crumbs scattering everywhere. Cheedo watched him, her brow furrowed. He hadn't even bothered to greet them. "Hope," she began, her voice small, "did you finish Mr. Banda's homework?" Hope just laughed, a dismissive wave of his hand, his only answer. Cheedo sighed. He was never serious. This was going to end badly. That night, sleep evaded Cheedo. The house creaked and groaned around her. She tossed and turned, her mind a whirlwind of worries. Just as she was drifting off, she heard a murmur from the living room. Cheedo crept out of bed and peered through the crack in the door. The living room was dimly lit. Hope sat at the table, counting a wad of bills. Opposite him sat John, a boy from the neighborhood with a sly smile and shifty eyes. "Remember," John hissed, his voice low and dangerous. "We meet here on Friday night. Make sure your siblings are gone. It'll be quick in and out." Hope chuckled, pocketing the money. "Don't worry, John. They won't suspect a thing. Bridget will be at her precious choir practice, and Cheedo will be sleeping like a good little girl." Cheedo's blood ran cold. John was planning to rob them, and Hope was in on it. The next morning, Cheedo cornered Hope in the kitchen. He was shoveling cereal into his mouth, his school uniform hanging off him haphazardly. "Hope," she whispered urgently, "you have to listen to me. John is planning to rob us." Hope choked on his cereal, his eyes widening in surprise. He then burst into laughter, slapping his knee. "Cheedo, what are you on about? You're such a little scaredy cat." Cheedo's frustration grew. "I heard him, Hope. He gave you money. He said Friday night." Hope rolled his eyes. "You were dreaming, little one. John wouldn't hurt a fly. He's my friend." He ruffled her hair, completely dismissing her concerns. Cheedo wanted to scream. How could he be so blind, so trusting? But Hope had already left the kitchen, his laughter echoing behind him. Cheedo felt a knot of dread tighten in her stomach. She had to find a way to protect her brother, even